Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode of the NALC Branch 458 podcast. I'm Casey Ritchie, and today there's a very special guest. It's someone that I'm excited to talk about, the topics that I'm excited to talk about. So stay tuned, listen to the end. It's pretty important for the letter carrier craft, for things we have coming up, things to look forward to in your retirement. So the next voice you're going to hear is well, I guess it's going to be me, but we're going to jump right into the guest of this episode. Welcome
Yeah,
to the podcast. Thanks for joining me today on this holiday. I know it's your day off. It's my day off, so I appreciate you joining me today. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
yeah, thanks, Casey. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. My name's Matt Tanner. I'm the legislative political organizer um, for a few different regions, but I am for Region 4, I am the LPO for both Arkansas and Oklahoma. So, yeah, no doubt. Glad to be on board and looking forward to coming out and visiting you guys.
Yeah, and you'll be here in July, right? Our July branch meeting.
Correct. I believe it's July 11th. I'll come out for your meeting, and hopefully we'll have some carriers there, and we can talk about what we got going on in legislation and what we need to happen to help us all out as far as active and retired letter carriers.
Yeah, definitely. And this is something, admittedly to myself that I coming up in the postal service that I wasn't very interested in kind of at all. But the more I realized how important it was, the more I'm getting involved, the more I like reaching out to my senators and congressmen. Do you kind of have the same feeling? Like, how did you get to the role you're in now?
Yeah, same thing. Casey, guilty as charged. We take for granted that we can just go to our jobs, punch in, and carry our mail and get paid. And most union jobs or most places of employment, it just simply is that. And unfortunately, or I guess maybe fortunately, we have a connection being that we're the United States Postal Service. We have to have a voice. And so I'm a letter carrier. I still have a route in Owasso, Michigan, part of Branch 122, and just kind of growing within my branch and becoming a branch president. Seeing the things that affect us, and like you said, realizing that you like it or not, our jobs are connected with the politics, and we have to have a seat at that table. We have to have a voice with our members of Congress that to make sure that they're looking out for us. And so it's never been I don't like politics. I mean, flat out, it's not something I aspire to be a politician or anything like that. But it's just seeing how it affects my everyday life. Just kind of is what got me into it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm the exact same way. So I definitely appreciate everything you're doing in this role. So you mentioned you're an LPO. Do you want to talk about what that stands for? What does your job
Yeah.
entail?
So L, LPO, legislative political organizer. Fred had, back in the day, for those of us that have been around a minute, we used to hire these college kids in DC, and they did a lot of our lobbying. But the problem with that was that we were basically just a stepping stone for them to grow in politics. It was just something to put on their resume, meaning they weren't vested, and as we all know, as letter carriers, we have a different language as far as acronyms and numbers and things that are important to us. And so Fred had this dream or this vision that why not have actual letter carriers get into these positions? We got so many people from walks of life, and so who better to go out and lobby for our issues than ourselves? And so he created these legislative political organizers, LPOs, and we have 5 nationwide. Okay, and so I cover a couple different regions. I'm from Region 6, so that's my home region, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan. I also cover Region 3, which is the state of Illinois. I have Region 8, which is Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And I also share Region 4. I have, like I said, Arkansas and Oklahoma. And then the legend, John Beaumont,
Yeah.
he has the other 3 states from Region 4. So My job is to come around to branch events, come to state trainings and regional rap sessions, and talk about the legislation that affects us and educate our members on why being involved in this process is so important. Obviously, it's also to raise our PAC, our political action fund. We have to, like it or not, you have to have a seat at that table. Getting a seat at the table with politicians involves money, and so we have to do fundraising outside of our union dues, because the Hatch Act prevents us from just using our union dollars to lobby on our behalf. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, so you talked about it a little bit, our pack. So we call it the LICPIF. You want to talk about what that stands for and how important
Yeah.
that is?
So again, I guess you got to talk about the history. We used to call it COLSEP. Along the way, it changed to the Letter Carrier Political Fund. And basically, what it is it's the money we use to lobby our politicians. And so nationally, we raise about $7.5 million every 2 years. That money is used to help friends of ours either get elected or stay elected. We don't get involved as far as any of the other hot topics that maybe we're arguing about on social media. We support both Republicans and Democrats. It's basically, as long as they support our issues, we're going to help them. And so it's our money that we use to buy friends. I mean, just to put it mildly, it's the money we use to influence politicians.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting. I recently went to Washington and was able to meet with several of our state senators and just talk to them a little bit about that. Now I know we have some bills, that we're trying to push right now that we're supporting. Is there any of those bills that you'd like to address to talk a little bit more about?
Yeah, absolutely. The common thing with a lot of legislation, as a retire or as a letter carrier, it's amazing how quickly when we enter the workforce, one of the first things we notice is everybody starts talking about that. I got 30 years left, or I got 10 years left. They know pretty early on when they can retire, and so believe it or not, a lot of our legislation focuses around benefits or things that affect us when we retire, and so meaning a lot of our benefits, our money can be greatly influenced, obviously reduced, based on legislation. Right now, a big piece of legislation we're working on is H.R. 5995. H.R. means it's in the House. We have not yet introduced a bill in the Senate, but that legislation affects 64%, almost 2 out of every 3 active letter carriers. And what that legislation does is, if it's passed and signed into law, it allows anybody with any non-career time, CCA, TE, casual time, since any time after 1988, they get an opportunity to get credit for that time for when they retire. And so, under the current hiring process, that's 2 years probably that a majority of our members are losing out as far as their time and credit. And then if you look back to anyone that had any non-career time prior to 2013, when this DOS award come out, we have members I know in my branch that have 9, 10, 11 years because they were casuals prior to that. And so that casual time and then 2 years of CCA time, they don't get credit for, and they should. This isn't something new.
Yeah, definitely. I know I fall into that category. Thankfully, I'm not up there in the 5, 6, 7 years, but I always tell people that my sentence was 25 months. So that's 25 months. If this is a pass, that I'll be able to buy back and credit towards my retirement. And thankfully now our CCAs here in Oklahoma, they're converting around 13 months. So, but still, that's a little over a year that you can contribute towards your retirement if this bill is passed.
Yeah, I mean, so take that 1 year, like you said, 13 months. Just that 1 year is approximately $130 to $140 more that you would receive when you retire in your pension, $130, $140. And it's not, you're not asking for anything you don't deserve. You carried the mail, you did the exact same job an active letter carrier does. And so, and this isn't anything new. They've done this in the past, right? And
Yeah.
that figure is based on today's numbers. That's not when you become eligible. Right now, in my area, I'm sure, possibly in yours, we're seeing older carrier. The CCAs are a little older, meaning they're a little later in life joining, and so yeah, the money's nice, but also the fact that could also possibly help some members retire a year, 2 years, or however many years sooner is obviously a big deal as well. Giving them access to actually get out and have a couple more years of retirement.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a so you were recently just at our state convention, and I got this paper from you actually that has a lot of the bills that we're trying to support right now through our letter carrier political fund, and one of them that I'm kind of passionate about that because I'm on the district safety committee and the Oklahoma safety committee. We just recently had our Enough is Enough rally few months ago, and so it's the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act. You mentioned the HR, so this is HR 7629, and then there's also the companion bill S for the Senate bill is 4356. Is there anything you want to discuss there that uh, maybe people might not know
Yeah,
about that bill?
yeah. This is where our focus, our number one priority. As we all know, it seems like every day if you go on any postal related Facebook site or whatever, one of our brothers and sisters are getting, robbed for arrow keys or getting held up for the mail. And this legislation, if passed, or I should say when passed, we're gonna be definitely kicking this through the process. What it does is, number one, unfortunately, the prosecuting attorneys out there currently don't put us or hold us to the high standard that they do other federal employees. And so this legislation, would obviously it supplies the Postal Service with money to update our collection boxes, our arrow lock key process, kind of like an app, like if you've stayed in a hotel since COVID, where you can just basically stand next to the box and it'll have probably something on the scanner or a key fob type deal where it would unlock that box. And so, point being is that arrow lock key, you can't immediately replace them. So if somebody were to steal the scanner, say, or the key fob, we can deactivate that. So the value of that device, or the availability of getting into different mail receptacles, is going to go down, because yes, they might get one or two boxes or whatever, but as soon as that device is deactivated, it becomes worthless as far as getting access to the mail. But more importantly, it creates, they have to, if this bill's passed and that money is passed down to the Postal Service, they have to have a prosecutor in everyone in these districts that pretty much, they're adding a prosecutor that basically focuses on prosecuting these criminals that are obviously disrupting our brothers and sisters' lives. There's a story out from the West Coast where a carrier was robbed by gunpoint, and they did actually catch this individual that created this, or that did this crime, and they only with a gun, and they only, this person only served like 30 days in jail. And obviously,
Oh, wow.
something like that's just ridiculous. We have to prosecute these people to the fullest extent of the law. We have to make it known that messing with the letter carrier is it's a federal crime, like it used to be considered. And it just seems like, unfortunately, that stuff has kind of been swept under the rug for us. So it just puts a little bit more value in who we are, what we do, and protecting us, and obviously helping us serve our communities.
Definitely. I know here in
So
Oklahoma, we kind of have a good response to things like that when they do happen. Unfortunately, they are after the fact. We go out there to the unit, and we do stand up talks to make everyone aware of what happened, what they can do in the future, just things like that. And the latest one. I shouldn't say the latest one because unfortunately we've had more than should be than there should be. But one of the latest ones, it was a couple of teenagers. The carrier was on their last walking split, so they didn't really have a ton of mail, and this route did not have arrow keys, and it was two teenagers asking for rubber bands. But once the carrier told them like, okay, well, I don't have any, uh, the one of them showed a gun and he just gave them the carrier gave them everything, and that's exactly what you should do in those situations. None of it is worth it. Just give them everything they ask for, and they caught them the next day. Now I don't know if they've been prosecuted or if they served any time or anything like that. But this bill would help that tremendously because it would, like you're saying, it would devalue what they're seeking. They're seeking those keys so that they can get into the mailboxes and steal whatever they want to steal.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's sad that we have members that are almost daily facing something like that. There was a time where letter carriers were, they were well respected in the neighborhood, and it just seems unfortunately that the world around us has changed, and now we're becoming a somebody that they feel that they can, quite easily take advantage of.
Yeah,
It's
easy
pretty sad.
easy targets. But yeah, I'm like you. It's when that's going to get passed because I think we're going to be successful there. I think that's a no-brainer, and I think anyone can support that bill.
Yeah, get behind.
Uh,
I agree. It's common sense that we're you guys right out of your branch a year or two ago had heroes from your branch, and so it's amazing. We go out in our communities and perform these amazing acts, and pull people out of burning buildings or helped our elderly find our elderly in need of medical care. And so we're out there keeping an eye on our neighborhoods, and then unfortunately these neighborhoods aren't really keeping an eye on us. And so that's kind of what this bill is. It's just about raising awareness, like, hey, don't forget about us. We're out here trying to help and serve our American public and take care of these neighborhoods. Just please value us. We want to go home to our families just like you are, and that's it's pretty simple. And we're not
yeah,
asking for a major thing here.
yeah, for sure. So this one, the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act, it has an HR and a S bill, so they're companion bills. Can you talk about how that works? So why is there two separate bills? I know it so bills I know from school, and my wife's a third grade teacher, right? So I have to get reminded sometimes. But bills are introduced and they go through the House, and then once they get so many co-sponsors, it's voted on and it gets approved or rejected, and then it goes to the Senate. Is that kind of how these bills work also?
Yeah, so you got the House side of Congress, you got the Senate side, and so yeah, ultimately before something becomes a law, it's going to pass through both sides of Congress, and then end up on the president's desk to sign into law. And so, every state has two senators, and so obviously House members, those districts are a little smaller, and so based on what your population is in your state, you could have anywhere from one or two House and up to, I think California has in the 50s or 60s as far as House members there. So usually when we're talking a House bill, as far as co-sponsors, when you get a legislator to sign on to something or agree to whatever the language of that bill is, they're listed as a co-sponsor, meaning if and when it gets brought to the floor for a vote, you can kind of count on their vote when that goes. And so in the House, we like to say 290 is the magical number, meaning if it gets up to 290, it normally avoids getting locked up in a committee and getting voted on to pass. And so right now, that the House Bill Protect Our Letter Carriers Act, it's probably only been out about 6 months, but it's close to 90. I think we're sitting on 89 currently as of today. And so got some work to do. Obviously, we need to get simple math tells you about 200 more co-sponsors in the House. But I think it's getting momentum, and obviously coming into an election this fall, I think we've got some We should be able to get some members to start members of Congress to sign on to that. As you said, the companion bill in the Senate, that we got 100 senators, 50 states, 2 per state. And so the number we like to hit there is 60 for the same reason. 60 senators. It keeps that bill out of a committee and gets it to the floor faster. That one was just introduced in the last month, but we still have just the original 2 co-sponsors. A little slower on that, but again, same thing. This isn't a red or blue issue. It's just a common sense. We deliver to every neighborhood, whether it be a red blue state, red blue area. And so, this is happening all over the country. So it's thought that we should be able to get this legislation across, like a lot of our bills, we should be able to get both sides of the aisle to support us in this. So we just got to do some work and get, our members got to get involved a little bit and get this bill pushed to the finish line. So.
For sure. So kind of another important thing, not necessarily part of the letter carrier political fund, but it's equally as important to get out there and make your voice known and to vote. So recently we got a listing of how many of our members in our branch are not even registered to vote. And we have about a little over 1,000 members in our branch. And believe it or not, around 600 of our members are not even registered to vote. So I think that's the very first step into making your voice known and to standing up for what you believe in, whatever that is, to register to vote. And like in Oklahoma, what I do is I get the absentee ballot, and that makes it to where I don't miss anything. So it's mailed to my mailbox, and I get it about a month before the voting even happens. So I'm able to look at it, research who I want to vote for, and mail it back in. So I guess the first step to all the listeners out there is to go get out and register to vote. Your voice is important, and we can't make a difference unless we do vote.
Can't
So
echo, can't back you up more on that. Yes, that's huge. They want money, they want votes, and they. If you, like I said, we keep talking about social media. They've done such a good job of pushing away voters because of all these other things going on, and it just seems like it's just a bad, voting for people is a bad thing. But you have to exercise your voice. You have to be heard. You have to make sure that, like I said earlier, we have retirement benefits tied up into this. We have our safety tied up into some of this stuff, and so we got to make sure that we're number one, like you said, voting, but also urging these representatives to help us out and get these issues addressed. So
yeah, for sure.
100% vote, please.
So I think we've touched on it a little bit, but why is it important for carriers to contribute to the letter carrier political fund?
Well, like I said, as far as the dollars, right? So nationally, we do a great job. Our union has always done a great job with organizing. You see a lot of these states have like a right to work thing passed within the state, meaning people that join union shops have the right to join or not to join, and they can still be employed there. Well, as federal employees or postal employees, it's always been the case for us. We've always basically been a right to work shop. And so back to the organizing point, somehow with that ability there to you don't have to join the union, nationally, we average between 93 to 95% of our carriers join the NALC. And so meaning they understand how important it is to be a part of this union, this great union. And so the Hatch Act, I kind of touched base a little bit about on that. So 93 to 95% of us join the NALC, but the Hatch Act prevents us from taking, let's say, a couple dollars out of your union dollars every check or annually, and doing these supporting our issues. And so we have to raise our money elsewhere. We're different than say the UAW, Teamsters, all these other unions are able to use their union dues to influence their to get these legislation things pushed across the finish line that are important to them, right? And so
yeah.
it's just like joining the union. You know, like I said, 93 to 95% sign up. Well, only nationally we're at 12% of our members are contributing to this, and it's not a lot. It's not from people not wanting to contribute. It's just from us not being able to touch base with these members and educate them on why it's important, right? And so,
Yeah.
like we said, yes, voting is huge, but you have to be able to support the people and get them elected that are supporting us.
Yeah. And it's hard for us to talk about this because of the Hatch Act. We're not allowed to talk about our pack on the workroom floor, on the clock, in uniform, on federal property. So that's why I really appreciate you coming on here, because this is a platform that we are able to get information out. You're coming to our branch meeting, so anyone listening that wants any more information, please come to the branch meeting. If you have questions, have those questions ready. So it's hard to get people to sign up. So it's not surprising to me to hear that that number is only 12%, because it's very hard for us to ask the carriers to contribute because we don't want to violate the Hatch Act and have our job in jeopardy. So talking to carriers after work or calling them after work when you're home out of uniform um, is probably, I guess, the easiest way to do it, or when we gather, like at branch meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like you said, that's just one roadblock to Hatch Act right now. Now take into account the topic of discussion. We've been so ingrained to hate each other because of our political beliefs that aren't job affiliated. Well, there's nobody that's listening to this that doesn't want time or doesn't believe they should get credit for the time they served as a non-career. There's nobody that doesn't think we shouldn't be able to protect us as just delivering the mail. And so that's the thing we got to focus on, is maybe getting rid of that red and blue fight that we seem to fight, and realize that it doesn't matter if you're a donkey or an elephant. This is about us, doing what unions do, uniting and getting our message together passed. And that's, like I said, that's all we focus on. We don't get into all that other crap. If you want to, argue about that or whatever on your own, platform or whatever, by all means do so. It's your right to do that. But I promise you, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with the letter carrier political fund, it's going to have to do with the things that benefit every single one of us. And that's we got to take pride in the fact that we're so diverse, that we all believe in different things, and we got to use these things to help our cause instead of hurt our cause, right? And so, yeah, you're right. It definitely makes it hard, but the NALC does a good job of continuing to push the message. It's just getting that opportunity, like you said, the opportunity to talk to people at events or meetings, and having people just kind of come open-minded and understand that, it's not about red or blue issues. This is about letter carrier issues, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I recently just listened to, because like I said, I'm kind of getting into this stuff now. I listened to that hearing for the governmental affairs and Homeland Security that was not too long ago, where they were grilling Louis DeJoy and one of our governors, and um, who else was there? It was uh, someone from the Department of Labor, wasn't it? Um,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So one of them that really stuck out, and I've mentioned it on previous episodes, why it's so important to donate to our pack, to get education out there, to reach out to your senators, because one of the senators that spoke that's on that committee is Rand Paul from Kentucky, and just the things that he was saying, which I'm sure he's a very smart individual, but when it comes to letter carriers and the post office, you could just tell that he had a misunderstanding on our job, especially because we are in a labor union, that the Postal Service negotiates those things. We have a contract. He was talking about uh, if if he owned a company, and these were the problems that we were having, and specifically he was talking about our retirement package. he said, it's failing. It's not sustainable. It's something that you need to do something different. He said, why not hire private contractors to do that job and put them in a separate retirement package, which we all know that they can't do because it violates our contracts. Uh, and the people that could do that are those senators. So that's why, me personally, why I think it's important to contribute to these things because it would, um, you're going to shuffle money towards the people that are helping us in our causes, but it would also educate some of the people and senators and congressmen that don't understand our job and how it works. So that's another aspect of it is even if they don't support us, we're educating them on what we do support and how it works.
Yeah, agreed. Case in point, take postal reform. It took us about 13 years to get that passed. And early on, when we were starting to talk to these members of Congress on why it was important and the requirement that the Postal Service, the burden the Postal Service was being put on to pre-fund future retirees' benefits, 75 years into the future, it's nothing no other private business in the world would have to do this. Even big oil companies who, obviously were making and still continue to make big top dollars. We're a nonprofit organization, and they were strapping us with the $5.5–6 billion bill. And so finally, over 13 years, we were in 2022, we were able to pass it. Our employer, the Postal Service, no longer has to pay that bill, and they get to pay benefits, as every other company does as they come due, and getting access to that money that that we've already paid into it. So yeah, legislation, like you said, it could be with the stroke of a pen. We could be privatized. Our members of Congress have no clue, in many cases, what our job is and the service we provide. Look at COVID. Us, how essential we've showed that we are still going out and doing our job when much of America was still sitting home and not able to do that. But we were we start look at our package volume from doing that. Look at the need to get to our seniors and their medications, and so yeah, we have to educate not only our members but obviously the members of Congress as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So how much of anyone's, if they are contributing, if they decide to contribute, how much of their contributions actually go towards our PAC?
100%. 100% goes to our PAC. And the thing about our PAC is, if you remember, our slogan was "Give me five," and kind of, just for $5 a check is what we were trying to get members to sign up. So, we get paid 26 times a year. It's $130 a year. And you think that that's not anything that makes a difference. Well, it does. It makes a huge difference, and with, like I said, with only 12% nationally contributing, $7.5 million is quite a bit of money. But when it comes to, and it was in the Postal Record here, I think it was the February issue, where it talks about our labor pact, our unions pact, and we do good, no doubt. Letter carriers do good, but just like anything else, imagine if we got that up to 20 or 30%, and instead of $7.5 million, imagine if we had, $20 million or 18, whatever. We're going to have a lot louder voice with more money,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
obviously, yeah, you get even 20% in most cases. If you're only getting 20% of something, you're not doing very well, right? And so, and our team, the legislative team from NALC, we gotta believe that it's just from not getting a chance to talk to that 88% of people that aren't signed up. We know that if we get a good chance to explain what HR 5995, the Retirement Fairness Act, or what the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act, and them are just a couple, bills. If we get a chance to explain that, by all means, it's amazing how quickly people do. Yeah, I'll give you $5 a check, no big deal. And a lot of us contribute a lot more because how important it is to us. But the goal is to just get that number up. It's not to get, Casey to give $100 a check. It's to get, branch 458 to raise their percentage, and because knowledge is power. And so obviously when people start to contribute a couple bucks out of their check, they're going to start paying attention to what's going on, probably a little more. They're going to take action on the website. They're going to contact their members of Congress and say, hey, we need you to, we need you to pass this legislation. And so that's, yeah, it's just a little bit of money. Sure, it might not seem like a lot, but it goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah, it really does. I know whenever I first signed up, I contributed five right out of the gate, and it's money that you never even miss because it's taken directly out of your check. You don't even really think about it. I mean, you forget about it, that it's not there. So how often do you just run by the store, grab a drink, and you don't even think about how much that costs? I mean, it's $5. So um, that's kind of what I ask people to start out with, consider it and start out with $5 because it's something that every 2 weeks for $5, it's you don't even miss it. So if someone does
Well,
want to sign up, what's the easiest way for them to sign up for the letter carrier political fund?
oh, I would say the best way is to go through your branch. You're going to need some information on signing up. It's through that light blue process, and so you need some account numbers, and it involves your postal record number. So either contacting your branch or they can contact me directly, it's real easy to do. It's just they do make the process a little harder because of the Hatch Act, and we unfortunately with our allotments have to, we had that hack over the last couple of years or whatever, and so that we have to jump through some hoops, which they say is for our protection, and I fully get. But with that, it just becomes a little bit more of a hassle. So they need an account number, a postal record number, and really it takes just a couple minutes. And so I would recommend them going through the branch, and then the branch, if they need help, obviously I'm available to assist and all that as well. So.
Yeah, and you guys can definitely come out on July 11th, and we'll assist anyone that wants to join. I ask you right now to consider joining to contribute to the Letter Carrier Political Fund, and you can come out, and we will definitely assist you with that. So I guess in closing, if there's someone on the fence about it, someone that's considering it and they don't really know, is there one last thing, one final thought that you would say to them to urge them to contribute to the political fund?
Yeah, I mean, just again, like what really got me fired up is finding out about how they attack our benefits, our retirement benefits. We work hard. We go out and we 30 plus year or however many years you're going to carry the mail. And to me, the best, my favorite or best to me, what I believe is our best benefit is our retirement. And I think that if we do something for that long and we commit our life to doing that and doing a job for these people, for the American public, and when I get to my retirement age, I think that what was promised to me should be there when I get there, and the value of that retirement, the value of my pension should remain to where I can live. We all know we're never going to be rich being letter carriers, but there's no reason we shouldn't be comfortable. We shouldn't be able to, have a good retirement and have a good, last third of our life to enjoy like they say, the fruits of our labor. And so to me, that's the biggest thing is getting the value at the finish line of my career to enjoy that last 20 plus years, hopefully, of what what I worked so hard to accomplish. And to me, that's the biggest thing, focusing on that retirement.
For sure. And I'm the same way. So yeah, we'll close it out there. If any of you guys want to take action, we didn't really talk about that, but you can go on to nalc.org and there's the governmental affairs tab, and you can take action, and it will generate an email for you to send any of these bills we talked about, and I'll put in the description the other bills that are on this sheet that Matt gave me to support, and it will send an email directly to your representative to support these bills and these Senate bills that we're supporting. So there's that. And then if you guys have any questions, please come to the branch meeting on July 11th. It starts at 7:30. We're here on Reno and Council, and then Anything else? If there's any comments or questions, you can email those to 458podcast@gmail.com. But thanks, Matt. I really appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, no, anytime. Casey, can I just take another minute real quick or a couple seconds, if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
go for it.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, obviously, to you. I don't know if you remember this, but the first time I met you, I came out to when you guys were going through that Streeter, um, the Kaser Streeter test there,
Yeah.
whatever that whole process, and I come out and got trained in your facility, and I know even early on, man, you're a union warrior. I saw you working on your grievances. I don't know if you remember talking to me, but that's I think what gets us all involved. It's just protecting our brothers and sisters, and so I know the sacrifice you make. I know the sacrifice Ken and Eric and the rest of that 458 team make, and so I just want to say to your membership, you got an amazing branch, and I just hope that you guys are supporting them. You got a great region 4. Dan and the rest of that team. There, we all work for you, the membership. Don't ever, please don't let us ever forget that. And so, like Casey said, anytime there's a question, by all means, reach out. My phone number is 810-444-5286. Tanner at NALC. I will do anything I can to assist any of you guys that have any questions. So with that, yeah, thanks, Casey. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you helping out our membership. I really do. People like you are what keeps me fired up and thankful I have this job. I'm thankful I get to do this job. So I'm
Well,
looking
thank you.
forward to being out there in July, man. We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.